On the day of the first show, fans began to assemble outside Arrowhead Stadium hours before sunrise. Inside the auditorium, a 500-person security force and 1,000 other stage workers geared up for the mass event. A giant tapestry of a forest scene bordered each side of the stage, and a wooden barrier as erected 15 feet in front of it to keep fans from rushing the Jackson brothers. Arise, O the world, and behold the kingdom. A voice boomed as the show began for the 43,000 fans. Elaborate George Lucas-style computerized stage and lighting systems were the hallmark of the concert, including a hidden hydraulic stage that presented the group. Michael, in zebra print vertical striped pants, spangled shirt, white socks, 1950s type penny loafers, and white glove, as if they were appearing from under the earth and a waffle grid of 200 blinding lights. Seen on silhouette, the brothers marched slowly down a staircase. Approaching the microphones, removed their sunglasses and broke into the first song. Michaels wanted to be starting something. There were red and green lasers, crimson strobe lights, and purple smoke bombs. Magic, illusion, and fireworks. 18 songs boomed from 100 outdoor speakers. Everything from I Want You Back to Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. Oddly, the brothers performed no numbers from their new Victory album. It was later explained by Marlon that Michael refused to rehearse them or perform them before a live audience. Jermaine performed three of his own songs. Michael's solo hits, Billie Jean and Beat It, were saved for the end of the concert. He was an excellent voice, more a real singer now than ever before. By the time the group finished their performance, the audience had been whipped into a frenzy when, even though most of the audience members had to sell for the distorted images of the brothers that appeared on huge overhanging television screens throughout the Guerntown football stadium. It was clear, though, they had paid the high ticket prices to see only one person, Michael Jackson. Thanks to his music, not only to mention the advent of the video age, Michael's stardom had reached such mythic proportions by this time. No one would share a stage with them, as Jim Miller wrote for Newsweek. He dances with the breathtaking verve of his predecessor James Brown, the brilliant whipsness of Diana Ross, the ungainly pathos of Charlie Chaplin, the edgy joy of a man startled to be alive. The crowd gaps and screams. After the first of three shows in Kansas City, the truth was painfully clear. Michael should never have agreed to do the tour, but for more reasons than the problems with ticket prices and promotion, he was a front man for an act he no longer felt a part of, and the brothers were uncomfortable in the roles as his supporting players. Either, or as one critic put it, Marlon, Jermaine, Randy, and Tito seemed only ill at ease extras at their own celebration. Jermaine's comments to reporter Simon Kinnersley at this time brought to light the dimension and paternal jealousy running rampant within the group. He said, even though Michael is very talented, a lot of his success has been due to timing and a little bit of luck. It could have helped him, or it could have just easily been me. But now I'm doing a lot of things. I'm the hottest brother. It'll be the same when my brothers do their thing. To Michael's audience, though, none of the controversy they kept hearted and reading about mattered when he, the undisputed star, appeared on stage. All that mattered was his talent, his passion for his work, his charisma, his voice, and the way he could execute one of those impossible backward glides across the stage. The audience roared its appreciation for him with every song. Not only that he outgrew any family pageantry, one sensed that he was constrained by a fear of upstaging his brothers. There was a feeling, imaginary or not, that Michael couldn't wait for the show to end. At this same time, the brothers, who entertained with great hunger and eagerness, looked as if they knew that their performance represented the chance of a lifetime for them and maybe their last chance. However, never for a moment did they appear to share any common values or goals of showmanship with their star performer. It never did appear that Michael wanted to do more to do with them than necessary. By trying to prove his loyalty to his family, he had distanced himself even further from them. Moreover, maybe he had lost a little of his soul in the process. Certainly, he must have felt as if he lost something when James Brown, one of his idols, refused his invitation to perform on stage with him at Madison Square Garden in New York. James, always a big fan of Michael's, felt that the steep ticket prices would preclude the attendance of many of the group's black fans. That decision had to hurt Michael, even to make him think that whether the tour was worth it to him. The agony of victory would continue through December 9th, 1984. Same show and dialogue each and every performance. Michael is not as spontaneous performer. In concert, he has set a routine and he really views from it. Bruce Springsteen went to see the show in Philadelphia, and afterward, he and Michael had a conversation backstage. Do you talk to people during your concerts? Michael asked him. I heard that you do. Yeah, I tell stories, Bruce said. People like that. I've learned they like to hear your voice to do something besides singing. They go wild when you just talk. Michael shuddered. Oh, I can never do that. To me, it feels like people are learning something about you they shouldn't know. The closer the time for the tour to be over, the more anxious Michael was to see it end. The way he planned it, this was going to be the greatest tour of all time. Joseph Jackson would say in retrospect, but outsiders in a feud. Soon the brothers were at each other's throats. Without a doubt, the most annoying thing about the Jacksons' behavior over the years was that their frustration and ability to take responsibility for their own actions. Over the years, all of them have pointed fingers to external sources for their internal problems, either its managers, promoters, the public, or their favorite foe, the media, that is held responsible for their problems. Never themselves. Of course, the truth is that they almost always create their own internet internal dysfunction. Touring can be stressful, lonely business for an entertainer, even under the basis of circumstances. However, to feel isolated, even under the circumstances, from the people with whom you're performing, let alone if they happen to be your family members, is devastating, especially to someone as sensitive as Michael. The family had already begun to fall apart. The victory tour seemed to be the hastening its complete destruction. At one point in the tour, Michael was so upset with his brothers. He suffered from exhaustion and dehydration and had to be put under a doctor's care. As a result of each pressure, Michael became increasingly difficult. Some of his demands were unreasonable. At one point, he threatened to not perform unless a senior publicist working on the tour was fired. The publicist had apparently allowed something to be printed that Michael did not appreciate. The brothers ignored the threat. Then, at the last possible minute, right before the show was to start, Frank DeLeo announced that Michael would not appear unless the publicist was dismissed on the spot. Of course, then the publicist was fired. In the beginning of the tour, it was agreed that only the performing members of the family would travel in the Jacksons' van. When Michael started showing up with Emmanuel Lewis, nothing could have been more annoying to the brothers. Before the tour was even half over, the brothers began traveling in separate vans and limousines. Jackie, who joined the tour midway on crutches but did not perform, Marlon, Randy, and Teo did in one vehicle. Jermaine and another by himself, and Michael in still another alone. When they had to travel by air, the brothers used a commercial airline. Michael traveled by private jet. A couple of times via Zadura's multimillionaire husband, Shalom Rookless, who was friend with the Jacksons, took mercy on the brothers and allowed them to use his private aircraft. In New York, when the group had to fly by helicopter to Giant Stadium, they agreed that no outsiders will be in the helicopter. Michael then showed up with Julian Lennon, John's son. The brothers glued at both of them during the brief flight. At one point, the Jacksons received an offer from a producer who wanted to pay them millions of dollars to film the show and release it to the home video market when the tour was over. They took a vote. Everyone was for the idea except for Michael. He threatened that he would not perform if they struck such a deal. Furthermore, no one has to videotape the show. Without any recourse, the brothers barely turned down the deal and all of that money. Then, 3 nights later, the group was on stage with cameras all about them. Michael himself had arranged for the show to be videotaped. I'll give you copies. Don't worry, he promised his brothers when they confronted them for the performance, but they never saw a copy. When Michael tried to get them to agree to let him release the video to the marketplace, they blocked him from doing it. The brothers stayed in separate floors of their hotel on each city. They refused to talk to each other on the way to the stadiums. Every time there is a meeting about anything, there will also be side meetings among the different factions in the group, including the pair of lawyers who represent Michael, the one who worked for Jermaine, and the two who spoke for the rest of the brothers. It was devastating, said longtime family friend Joyce McCrae. It amounted to the worst experience Michael had ever had with his brothers. His success had affected every member of the family. Some are jealous. There was now the whole gamut of human emotions. During the final week of the tour, Joseph and Don King began making plans to take the victory tours to Europe. When Michael heard about the possibility of European dates, he couldn't believe his ears. He sent a singing message to Joseph and Don through a friend Leo. I'll absolutely not be going to I will absolutely not be going to Europe with the Virtual Tour. Good luck to you, Michael. On December 9th, 1984, after the last song of the evening, Michael hollered out from the Los Angeles stage. This is our last and final tour. It's been a long 20 years, and we love you all. The brothers looked at Michael with surprised expressions, as if his declaration was news to them. What a little prick, one of the brothers said of Michael afterward. How dare he, the little creep. There's no way Michael Jackson should be as big as he is and treat his family the way he is, Don King fumed after the final show. It was clear to him that he would not be taking the show abroad. He felt that his father did him wrong. His father may have done something wrong, but he also had to do a lot right. He went on. When Michael's got to realize that Michael is a nope, I'm not gonna say it. It doesn't matter how great he can sing and dance. I don't care that he can prance. He's one of the megastars of the world, but he's still going to be I'm not going to say it, megastar. He just accepted that. Not only does he understand that, he's got to accept and demonstrate that he wants to be not going to say it. Why to show that not going to say it, can do it. If it had been possible for Michael to blow sky high when he read those comments, he would have done it. Suiza, he told John Branca. That guy has been pushing my last nerve since day one. John knew better than to drag Don King experience into a new year with fresh legislation. He claimed he calmed Michael down, as he always managed to do, and convinced him to let it go. As to rid of himself, excuse me, of the bad taste in his mouth left by the victory tour, Michael donated all of his proceeds from it, nearly $5 million, to the T.G. Martell Foundation for Cancer Research. The United, the United, um, also not going to say it, College Fund, and the Ronald McDonald Camp for Good Times. When Michael wrote of the victory tour in his autobiography, Milwaukee, he didn't mention Don King, Joseph and Catherine Jackson, Chuck Sullivan, or any of the other principal players behind the scenes. Of his brothers, he took the high ground, as he always does. It was a nice feeling playing with my brothers again, he wrote graciously. We were all together again. I enjoyed the tour. Whether or not he wanted to admit it publicly, the real victory for Michael Jackson was that he and his brothers were finally finished as a performing group. Their future as a family didn't look very promising either.